forgive the solicitor, Barry Barnett. Now he's going to lose 4.5 people under the old plan. The coroner, 1.5. The treasurer, 1.3. You're talking about 62 people. That was a great plan that not Miracle Boy came up with last week, but O'Neill. 62 have to be cut. All right. Oh, okay. Well, we may not do that. Let's just take a 5% cost reduction. The average employee in Spartanburg County makes $38,700 a year. You cut their salary by 5%. That's $162 a month. To make up for an insurance plan, all right, that's what's going on. It's time for that mess to stop. What I've done, thanks to Captain Mark Berry in the Sheriff's Department, that's the state health insurance plan. I've been told for 10 years, and this isn't Catherine's deal, and for 10 years I've been told the state insurance plan is not a good plan. It's too expensive, blah, blah, blah. Well, I talked to the state insurance officials today. I also talked to a couple of counties across the state that have the plan. Just to give you an alphabetical order, I'll just give you a few that are similar to us. Aiken, Anderson, Charleston, Horry, York, Dorchester, Florence, Greenwood, our neighbors, Lawrence. They're all members of the state insurance plan. I talked to one county that's been in there for 20 years. And what they said is, it's not the Cadillac plan, but it's very similar to what we did have. If we go with the state insurance plan, just looking at the 211 employees that have family coverage, you know how much their plan would save this county? $763,702. Just on the 211 employees. That doesn't count all the other. Then we have 500 that has just just employee coverage. We're talking about $1.2 million. We don't need to cut 5%. We don't need to cut 2.5%. Let's direct our county administrator and our HR folks. Let's work with the state insurance plan. Get it on there. Full family coverage, it costs $306 a month. That's what it costs right now. And our plan is even more than that right now. And I said, well, what's this going to cost the county? I looked at that. It'll cost the county $770 a month. That's their new coverage for 13. I thought, my gosh, that's $1,000. But guess what we're paying right now for those 211 employees? We're paying $1,330 a month. That's where you get the $750 or plus $1,000, $750,000. Mr. Chairman, I move that we direct our county administrator to move forward with the state insurance plan. It will be better for our employees. There won't be any cost. There are no deductions. It will save Spartanburg County money and give our departments that deserve it. You know, I've heard enough about this local government fund too. I ate a little bit of this weekend. We've complained about the legislature not fully funding us. How does Greenville, how does Anderson, how do these other counties move forward? We're telling our 7 elected officials, you do what we tell you. Because if you don't, we're going to cut you more. And we've heard that from Columbia. At least we claim that to be the case. Let's move forward. Let's get our county administrator moving. And we can pass the budget tonight. No tax increase. There's no tax increase. No employee deductions or cuts. And we'll move us forward in a positive way. Boom.
To proceed with state insurance school, we have a second. Councilman, I know y'all have looked at this in the past. I don't know why, it hasn't been brought up as an option. Is it something that can be done now?
Mr. Chairman, if council directs me to do that, we'll make it happen.
I just got to join our meeting. I talked to the folks this morning. They were faxing me stuff as we've been working today.
All right. Any other discussion? I will say Sheriff came up here and said he prayed for me this weekend. My back's been out all weekend, Sheriff.
I think my building's on fire. It's got a fire issue. I do pray for it.
I'm sorry to hear it. Thank you. Appreciate you being here.
Sure.
When you say we'll make it happen, what do you mean?
Well, it's my understanding from Councilman Britt is that this would need to go into effect as absolutely as soon as possible. The current plan year ends June 30th. So without the opportunity to talk to the state health plan officials. I don't know whether we can have it in place by July 1st, but that would be my goal. I'm not sure how this affects open enrollment, but if this is council's will, we're going to expedite the transition, and I can make sure that you're aware of how that expedited plan would look.
So you recognize that there is a savings now?
I defer to Councilman Britt's research that he has received today.
The research didn't show this when I asked, right?
Well, Councilman or Vice Chairman Brown, I know that I looked at the state health insurance plan when I was at Lexington. I know the staff has looked at it here in Spartanburg. The state health insurance plan requires a 4-year commitment, and there is an adjustment that's made in the second year. I'm assuming that Councilman Britt's information that's coming from the state health insurance plan is indicative of there not being an increase down the road that we can sustain within our health insurance.
I just wanted for the record, when David asked, his information was good when I asked, I didn't get the same answer, so I just wanted to for the record.
Well, Vice Chairman Brown, I defer to Councilman. I defer to Councilman.
I know
Britt's
there's been
information.
brought up before.
That's fine.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, and I don't want to put you on the spot, but I've talked to a lot of people about state insurance. They've all advised me, including you, to stay away from it. I'm talking about people that served in the House for years on what we can actually, what's available to us. That second year is very scary. I'm appalled that Mr. Britt would make his sermon and charge all you people up and bring Greg Hall into this mix, because Greg Hall has nothing to do with this. Greg Hall was ruled legal for the election commission, stood trial twice. He resigned. He didn't, if I'm correct, he resigned. He had nothing to do with this. He's a great businessman. And he was voted one of the 50 most important people to help Greenville County. We walked away from that. I'm appalled that you think that the local government funds, that they can keep $16.6 million by running. We should say, we should tell them thank you.
I consider the source of all your appalls. They don't even register on my scale. Yeah, grow up.
My feelings, David, because you lie so much we can't tell you, tell them the truth when you lie.
Anything else regarding the motion?
I think the state insurance plan is the wrong way to go, and I don't think it's fixes this thing worked down the road. If this council, that's what this council wants to do, then if you vote for it, I won't vote for it because I don't think it's the right way to go with it. And based on all I've been told, you're an insurance expert. I'd like to hear from you before we vote on this.
I know nothing about large group per se, O'Neill. I just know that, I know Michael has asked before, and I've asked to investigate the state pool. For whatever reason, it has not been submitted by administration as a viable option. Now, Mr. Britt, that's the number, sound good, Captain. I would like you to look at the second, third, and fourth year, and what their increases may be.
And Chairman Horton, and these are things that we can talk about, council and me, as we move through the adjustment. We'll have a series of run-out claims, as you would be aware. So there still would need to be enough money in the budget for the upcoming year for us to take care of the claims that are being incurred in May and June through June 30th. As we go through that transition, any plan that we change to, we would have that run-out claim. So without the opportunity to talk with the state health insurance plan administrators and work with Blue Choice on the run-out claims for this year, I don't have the benefit of being able to share with you how the next 6 months will look, or year 2, 3, and 4. If this is council's will, of course, I've told you this before, I'll tell you again, if this is council's will, we certainly are going to move forward and make this successful.
Well, I think hold on one second, Dale. I think one comment about what we're trying to be accomplished. Again, there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's not for the gates. It's called the Affordable Care Act. Freight train is heading our way, and I think that was the purpose of the reduction and trying to set aside money to get ahead of that particular curve. So I don't know how this motion changes anything, and I still think that all fire departments, school boards still are going to have to face the reality of the Affordable Care Act as it moves forward. So I don't think this particular motion addresses that. It may save some money this year, but again, I don't know how the pool will handle the Affordable Care Act. Hopefully you can get us an answer on that shortly. David, I'm sorry, Roger.
Chairman, I just want to clarify or get clarification on the motion that Councilman Britt made. Are we going back to the budget as originally proposed on the first reading minus the increase in premiums for employees?
Yes, and also my motion would include no increase in Parks and Rec either.
Okay. And also it would include the position, one position for
Judge Caldwell.
as well as the renovation.
Yeah. And that's what my motion was last week. We go with Catherine's recommendation of 3.5% and cover Judge Caldwell with her employee and her remodeling. And Jeff, I talked to a couple of these folks, these counties about that Affordable Care Act. The good thing is, they're out of 46 counties. I think they're close to 30 in the state plan. The good news is you got a group, and they all are tackling the Affordable Care Act questions. They're experts, with big groups, small groups that haven't figured it out. And I would rather be in a group of thousands of them, of like-minded South Carolina citizens and let them, because we sure haven't done a good job since we've been doing what we do. We're not insurance. But that's a good point.
Okay, Councilman, to make sure that I'm clear on the discussion about premiums, the state health insurance plan establishes the employee premium. So your motion, as I understand it, it's been made and seconded, as I understand where we are, would adopt the state health insurance plan and the employee rates. They actually have more than one plan, but it would adopt those rates. The county contribution is what is negotiated with the state.
Yeah, I think my question was, we have the operating budget and we have an amount of that going out to employee coverage and insurance. The budget is the same as it was on our first reading, and then you take what if there was money left over from that or whatever, then I don't know where that money goes if it's cheaper and what that does, and I think that's something we need to address. I want to make sure his motion was the first reading of the budget, where we were with expenditures on health insurance.
In the state health insurance plan, as I understand it, the employees will make their contribution and the state will assign the county its charges for participation. Until I have the opportunity to have that information, I won't know how much money from the county's contribution for health insurance to its self-insured plan will be needed for the state. In July, and trying to think through this as Councilman Britt's been talking, in July I would anticipate a budget amendment resolution that would help us to identify what our contribution would be for plan year that begins July 1st, 2014, if it's possible to make this adjustment effective July 1st, 2013 for the fiscal year 14 budget. Now, we'll have to get an estimate from Blue Choice on what they think our claims will be for runoff, but honestly, it'll be closer to November or December before I can bring you what the claims were for the current plan year. So with council's indulgence on trying to work through this transition, we'll bring a series of budget amendments to get the fiscal year 14 budget straight. The employee premiums that were forecasted for the budget simply come out of this equation because those premiums are going to be set by the state and collected to go to the state. So we'll have to reevaluate the employer contribution as a result of that.
What they told me real quickly is the employee contribution on the standard plan is basically the 80-20 we have is $306.56 for the employees. For us, and they said we got it on the website because I thought they might try to monkey with us or whatever, it's $770.12 for a total of $1,076, and we're a large county. So we're grouped into large county bunch. So that's what they faxed me or emailed me and said it's right there, you go. We put it out there for everyone to see. And I've got the 2009, 2010, 2011 rates that they sent me during the meeting. They were pulling the 12 and 13 rates up. So you can see for yourself it hasn't gone up much. They said it did go up 6.7% this year, but our experience was $4 million ourselves.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, you did mention something a moment ago, Mr. Douglas.
You know, when we went self-insured, we went forward with the idea that we were going to make things better for our employees, and that's the reason we did it enthusiastically. And I seconded Mr. Britt's motion for the fact that apparently our self-insured was not the best thing for our employees. I think that if we have an opportunity to change that and it will reduce the cost for our employees, I think it's a good thing. Is there a possibility it'll go up next year? Yes, there is a possibility it'll go up next year. But I can assure you that it will go up this year through our policy.
One question I have, in order to, you want to get the numbers that check out potential state plans, is there a way that we can hold our budget in place now, since you're saying we're going to have to come back and do an amendment anyway, or?
Vice Chairman Brown, the best that I can offer as advice is that every time you go into third reading, you don't have a crystal ball knowing what emergencies the county is going to face, state mandates that may be required. My recommendation to council is, if this is the direction that you want to go ahead and pass third reading with this direction to me. In fact, instruct me to find $80,000 to take care of the probate court staff addition that you want. And when we come back in July for your regularly scheduled meeting, we'll start a process of a series of budget amendments to incorporate in probate court. I'll show you where that funding comes from. From the information that Councilman Britt's been given, it should come from the savings and health insurance. And then if it doesn't, you can make an adjustment. If there's any reason why we can't meet our expenses going forward, we can make an adjustment any month for any reason. Like I've shared with some of you, we don't know if there's going to be a problem with the roof, a problem with the air conditioning unit, some expensive change that happens after July 1st. We'll just need to make those adjustments going forward. I would suggest that if this is the will of council, that you adopt third reading with the instruction to move to the state health insurance plan, and I'll come back to you as quickly as I can with what that transition will look like, pay the run-out claims, and take care of probate court through a series of budget amendments.
Can I say one quick thing, Jeff? I mean, I didn't come up with this stuff. I mean, Sheriff Wright, Captain Mark Berry, Pope Blackley, Sharon West, Rusty Clevenger, Lindsay. I mean, your efforts, y'all sent me information last week. All I did was make some phone calls and follow up. Sheriff Wright's been on this thing for a long time talking to us. And Captain Berry sent me a ton of information. The state insurance plan guys, they're the ones that, talked me through it and explained it, along with some other counties.
Mr. Chairman, if I can ask one more question, because I want to be correct. I don't want to put you on the spot. But Catherine, I asked you about state insurance, and did you specifically tell me that was not a good route? That's what I heard you say.
I'm sorry, Councilman Mintz.
I asked you about state insurance, and did you specifically tell me that was not a good option for Spartanburg County? Is that?
Councilman Mintz, I did not recommend going with the state's health insurance plan. I don't have the information that Councilman Britt's been given today, so I defer to the information they've provided to him.
Mr. Chairman, when we went with state, with our own self-insured plan, when was that, 2 years ago?
Yeah, 22.
I thought it was 2.
It's 2 years. You had made that decision before I came to Spartanburg County. It was done July of 2011.
We had gone through all of this. We had looked extensively at the state health plan. We saw how it increases every year and that we really had a no man's land idea of exactly how much it would raise. depending on our claims and different things of that sort. And we pretty much passed the self-insured plan because David had experience with his company with being self-insured and others had as well. It's obvious that our claims and the fact that we do have an essentially unhealthy population of employee has driven up the cost. And it will drive up the cost regardless of what kind of insurance plan we have. I'm willing for you to look at it. I am not willing to pass third reading on this. As a matter of fact, I moved to lay the budget ordinance on the table to give council time to work on possible solutions to obtain a balanced budget that's in the best interest of Spartanburg County, its employees and its citizens.
I'll get a motion on the table first. It's got a second on it, so we need to vote on my motion. And again, you know, you're going back to 2 years ago, we were being faced with a huge insurance premium escalation with the company that we were with. That's why we chose to go self-insured, to get us out from under that right then. Yeah, we've all asked questions. Michael's asked questions, O'Neill's asked questions, all of them have asked questions about the state insurance plan. We all hear how big a boogeyman they are. You know, right here, this is from the folks there. The employer premiums remained the same in 09 and 10, and then they had an adjustment in 11 and 13. It was less than 6%. Here are all the counties in highlighted there. And the cities. The cities aren't, but the counties are highlighted who has a state insurance plan. So it's Florence, Horry, Charleston, all these have made tremendous mistakes. Why have they stayed in it 20, 22 years? I'm tired of listening to somebody tell me it's not good, stay away from it. We got the proofs in the pudding, let's do it. And there's a motion on the table with the second.
I'd like to know exactly what the motion is.
That we direct,
Restate it, David.
I move that we direct our county administrator to go forward with the state insurance plan, which is going to save us potentially $1.2 million. We don't have to have a tax increase. Also, to remove the Parks and Rec millage increase from the budget.
Okay. I'd like to discuss it.
Yeah, was there another one? And add the employee for the probate court with the remodel. I think we can do all these things. I think the initiative that O'Neill tried to get passed last week, or in that budget thing up in Chesney, I think you'll be able to take care of your Chesney senior citizen up there, O'Neill, with some of these savings and moving forward. So I think you ought to look at this very seriously, and that's the motion.
David,
I'd like the floor.
do you have the amount of the savings again?
Yeah. Well, I have it on just the 211 employees. That's what we worked off of. We have 211 employees with family coverage here in Spartanburg County. Their coverage for full family, the employer portion, $770.12. The employee portion is $306. What we currently have right now, if you want that information, I'll give it to you. But you add that up, that's $1,076. Today, right now, this is no insurance adjustments or increases. This is what we're paying right now, $1,330 per employee for full family coverage right now. The savings on that, just going with the state plan, is $763,000, $772. So that's it. And that's just on family coverage. We have 500 and something employees that I think have just employee coverage.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like-
Discussion.
Thank you. I'm going to put these up here because I'm going to use these as a little demonstration today. I know y'all need a little fun, so we're going to have some. The reinstatement of the 5/10 of a mil to parks is not a new increase in taxes. After attempting to operate programs at an 8/10 of a mil decrease, Parks has learned it is stretched too thin to continue with programs. Key word here is programs. What are these programs and exactly what does a 5/10 of a mil increase mean? Programs such as after-school care and summer programs for youth in the towns of Packlet, Inman Mills, Woodruff, and a new program that has just started up in Inner because I was having complaints from citizens concerned about these children who just ran free, just like the animals down there. And they were very, very concerned that these children were unsupervised and that they were not getting anything to eat in a day's time. So we arranged with some private people down there, the Chapmans, who own some property down there from Chapman Mills, to establish a place of safety and a haven for these children, so that they do have somewhere to go now. And it's a supervised, and they get a meal a day. So we're very thankful for this program. Now, with that said, let's look at our two most vulnerable people in our population. It's the children and it's the seniors. This new program in Chesney, let's see, I do believe it was attended by the Lieutenant Governor, and I'd like to just read you something that he said. I commend the county for taking a step in the right direction. Some of you might see senior sitters as a brick and mortar building, but I see a home away from home where seniors are able to interact with each other for stimulation mentally and physically, and are able to retain their independence and freedom. This Chesney Center is going to be a pilot program for Spartanburg County to look at partnering with other private citizens and industry in the way that they have done in Chesney with private citizens, Terry Cash being number one, and with Spartanburg Regional Medical Center to provide care and service for the seniors. Now, I bought these today. It cost me $2.98. This 5/10 of a meal is going to cost an average $100,000 home an additional $2 a year on your taxes. Now, I don't know about you, but I can avoid drinking one of these in 1 year's time to be able to put food in a child's mouth and to give some type of social interaction to a senior who otherwise may go from week to week without seeing or talking to anyone.
Amen.
Now, if you do not feel strongly that this is something that needs to be done, then let's vote this ordinance down with this 5/10 of a meal increase. And you weigh and carry the weight of these children and these seniors on your shoulders. And I want to know, each and every one of you, how many times you stopped and visited a senior and held their hand and said, look, it's so good to be with you. I've done it, and I've been told, Jane, if you hadn't come by here, I wouldn't be able to talk to anybody or see anybody in person all week long. Now, I think that is a crime, a social crime. And that is what this program of 5/10 of a meal increase is designed to do, is to get children off the streets with good supervision and some food in their bellies, and seniors some social interaction. Now, if you think that's too much to ask of you to avoid a Coke in a year's time, then I ask every 6 of these people on this board to not vote for this 5/10 of a meal increase. I guarantee you one thing, and I can tell this to every single person in here. You're not getting any younger, but God willing, you will get older. And there will come a time in your life when you'll want somebody to talk to. Now, these seniors get that in these programs. And these programs aren't just in Chesney starting. It's already established in Woodruff. It's already established in Packlet. And we need to get these programs all throughout Spartanburg County. Because our seniors are very important